What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. LexxExpress checking in with some more WWE 2k24 news. Next week, we're getting the brand new Global Superstars pack dropping September 18th. I can't wait to get my hands on that because it comes packing some heat for universe and offline modes because, let's face it, we can't really utilize these people online. But back to 1.17, you saw the title of the video. This is related more ultimately to the Scott Steiner add-on that's dropping in less than 24 hours, where you will need Sami Zayn from Bash in Berlin to defeat Gunther. Once you get Sami Zayn, you're able to have this match and ultimately unlock Scott Steiner, which we're going to be taking a closer look at here. So the patch is more for just ability fixes. It doesn't pack a lot. It's for online, MyFaction, and offline, and there's no details other than what I just mentioned. Stability, that's it. That's all they said. But you can see Scott Steiner here having his signature hairstyle, looking amazing. You can see the pores in his face, the veins in his chest. The level of detail is amazing. We did see him in last year's game in MyFaction, but now this is being added as a persona card, so you could utilize him in the game. You're free to play with him once you earn him, of course. In MyFaction, you could have some fun with Big Papa Pump, and you can also download this amazing TNA arena that you see on screen. Just type in LEXYT. Once you search it up, you're going to find my username there, LexxExpress, and you'll be able to play with Scott Steiner in the Impact Zone. So we have Braun Breaker facing his uncle here in a tables match, just to kind of get a feel for Scott Steiner's movement and his ability in the game. Now, ultimately, with this patch, I was expecting a little more juicy details. I was hoping that with the DLC dropping next week, not that they would add the DLC early or that we would get some weapons or anything crazy like that, but man, considering how the online service has just been god-awful and hasn't really improved despite their best effort, I thought they would at least give us a substantial update in other modes, in other areas of the game that's been suffering. I kind of feel like we've been ringing it in. I know that we're getting close to the end of its life with the final DLC being the WCW pack dropping in November, is it? Right? So we're going to have to wait quite a while for that one after this Global Superstars pack. But Scott Steiner is arriving in less than 24 hours, where you're going to be able to face off Gunther once again. It's the only way to get him immediately. You got to have Sami Zayn. So are you going to be picking up Scott Steiner? Are you going to be utilizing Scott Steiner? For me, he was one of the more anticipated superstars that I had in my list for WWE 2k24 because I knew he was in the game last year, right? And considering that we didn't see him at launch, I'm like, they're going to have to drop him in MyFaction at some point. So I think it's pretty cool that we're getting him as a persona card this year, that we're going to be able to utilize him overall. But I think it's a little sad that people are going to have to open their bank account and just spend some funds in order to just have a chance at him. I'm all for the grind, I'm all for the live events, I'm all for the fun and games, but they should have just allowed us to use any Braun Breaker. It would have made a little more sense to me to have been able to use Braun Breaker, you know, and unlock your uncle as Braun Breaker. Not the other way around where you're just using Sami Zayn versus Gunther, and it does make sense for what's happening on TV in real life, so it's cool that that live event is even out there. But the reward just doesn't line up in terms of characterization for me. And I wish it was a little more themed to have some fun with some dream matches. You know, what if it would have just been Braun Breaker facing Scott Steiner, and then you unlock him once you beat him? It would have felt like a true boss battle and kind of like a generational thing. So for me, Scott Steiner, he's a character that I haven't really been utilizing him as the Steiner brothers. So that's why I'm really excited to have Big Papa Pump. It does feel like a DLC character being added to the game because I didn't play with him last year at all. But we can all, you know, take a deep breath and chill a little bit. And I'm not complaining too hard or being too aggressive in this video because I know what's the status, Witty, and everyone out there that does these amazing creations. They're going to get their hands on Scott Steiner. They're going to see Scott Steiner and what it takes to create this build. And they're going to go ahead and do their own version of Big Papa Pump for the community to utilize. So that's going to be a lot of fun to experience as well, to see different attires, different versions of him. I can't wait to see his full entrance and see what he is packing as, you know, Big Papa Pump, the total package, arriving through MyFaction in WWE 2k24. So I'm done rambling here. I just wanted to come and discuss the situation, kind of share my feelings about it, share some gameplay of Scott Steiner, and, you know, ultimately share the news that patch 1.17 is just not a meaty add-on. This is like as plain can be. You just ordered a hamburger with no sauce. That's it. So I'll see you real soon with some more WWE 2k24. Thank you for joining us this afternoon or whenever you're watching. Subscribe for more wrestling. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.